I want to just say a couple of things really quick, and really what I want this to be is I want to hear from you guys, okay? But I do want to let you know some of the things that have already started, just because that might affect some of the questions that you would have. I have signed up already for a 4-week watershed management seminar that will be run through the University of Arkansas. It's for the month of October. It's Zoom meetings and training. Because in addition to the lakes, we have a lot of drainage that comes in and out of our community that hasn't been addressed. We have different watersheds, different wetland areas within our community that all kind of I would like to look at. Okay, so I'm starting that on October 6th. On October 11th, next Tuesday, the chief engineer for Arkansas Natural Resources is coming up to do our dam survey that we are a little bit behind on, and have that looked at. I was tickled pink because her name of the chief engineer for the state of Arkansas dams is Whitney. I like that idea. So she's going to be out Tuesday. We're going to spend the day together, drive around and take a look at some stuff. County Extension Office is also coming out the week after that. We don't have a set date yet, but they'll be collecting some specimens from the lake, both water and plant, and helping us to identify what those are, what we can do about them, all right? And I've also contacted Arkansas State University. They have a School of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Conservation. And I just contacted that department head with a grant proposal that is available. I don't know if they're going to be interested or not. We could keep our fingers crossed for that. That would be awesome if they would be interested and they were to be able to get that. It's a $35,000 grant for a water improvement or research project. And it says right in the grant application that changing a community would be looked at very favorably. And this would change our community. So I'm really hoping, so keep your fingers crossed for that, okay? So those are the things that I already have going. The other thing I want to say is I can't undo anything that has been done. I cannot fix what has been done before. So talking about that isn't really beneficial to anyone. Okay, I would much rather focus on what we can do going forward instead of what has been done wrong or right or whatever. And I hope everyone signed in. I hope everyone wrote if they have any concerns or anything on there, so I remember who to get back to. And the last thing is give me time, okay? I'm trying to dig myself kind of up to level playing field because we are really far behind on some things, okay? So I'll do my very best to get us caught up and move forward. And after that, I want to hear from you guys. What are your concerns or your issues or your questions? Yes. You are, yeah, everybody can introduce yourself before you say something, please, so everybody knows everybody. I'm sure you guys are better at names than I am.
I'm John Harris, and we have a place on the lake. So is my son. And we have another good friend who does, so we're kind of all in love. And so we've been on the lake about 10 years. And the policy was to draw down the lake every year. And when they do that, they end up with 4, 5, 6 feet of earth exposed. And when we have these terrific rains, and that dirt just washes away into the lake.
Don, do you know why the policy is that we draw down the lake? I am not aware of why we would have that standing.
It's good for the lake, but I'm not
Fix
sure.
the docks. Fix the docks too.
Well, it's one of the reasons is a convenience for lake owners to work on the docks.
Okay.
And then in the past, I think they've had a dredging program, but they've not for several years dredged the coves. And so I'm concerned about the yearly drawdown and the silt that's produced and the lack of dredging. And I know all that. I know the dredging costs money. It's just about everything we go to do around here costs money. So, but that is a concern. I'm questioning that we have to do it every year.
Okay.
I heard that they put in 100 carp.
They put in 100 carp last year, 50 were put in July, and 50 were put in August.
That sounds reasonable to me. And just for the future, I'm concerned if they put in too many.
Okay.
That could be a disaster.
Okay, is everyone familiar with the grass carp that are put into our lakes? Grass carp are put into our lakes. I had somebody shaking their head no, so I'm going to keep going. Grass carp that are purchased to be put in the lakes are there for weed control. They are not predatory fish. They do not eat other fish. They only eat vegetation. I have seen numbers ranging anywhere from 3 per acre for a pond to 10, 15 per acre. Now, 15 per acre are the people who usually are trying to sell you fish, are telling you you need 15 per acre. But the average works out to be about 10 per acre. The Agamon Lake is a 74-acre lake. So that gives you kind of an idea of where we're going. The thing about the grass carp that you're allowed to purchase in Arkansas to put into lakes for weed control is they are sterile. They have to be from a certified source. They have to be proven that they cannot reproduce, because if they were to reproduce on their own, we would be in a world of hurt. Okay? The grass carp that are outside of managed lakes or ponds are not sterile grass carp. So that's why people have the idea that grass carp are an invasive, bad species. They are not if they are used properly. Okay? In order for us to be able to put them in there, we do have to go through the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission to find them, purchase them, and be allowed to put them in our lake. And I'm trying to get them to also then provide us with some signs that say, don't fish these fish. These are fish that we bought and paid for. They're like paid employees, and they have a job to do, and we need them to stay in the lake and do the job. So, yes, Eric.
I'd like to comment on 2 things. First, about why the lake is drained every year.
Yes.
Is because in the fall and the winter is the rainy season, and it's a precaution to keep us from having an overflow over the dam if we get, too much rain. And that's the main reason for that. As far as the carp, I think your numbers will be right that the total lake was covered in grass. But we don't, out in the channel of our lake where the lake is anywhere from about 25 to 48 feet deep, you don't have grass down in that kind of water. So probably, Don, he said he's kind of happy, I think that's not a bad number, but I think probably be better off if we added another 100 because you do have a lot of vegetation in the coast.
Yes, we do.
And like you say, you're 100% right, they're not a predatory fish, so you're not to worry about it from other fish. I think the only thing we can worry about is if you get so many, they eat all the vegetation out, because a lot of people like a little bit of vegetation. The fishermen is a safe habitat for the fish, to breed and have their babies. But the main reason is, I know Tom is not here, but he can tell you more about it. Like the lake, since I don't remember what year it was before I moved here, but the lake, it almost topped the dam. If it tops the dam, it will wash the backside off, and you got a major issue. But that's the main reason for all that.
Okay, thank you very much for telling me that. And that would be something I talked to Whitney about when she comes out for the dam inspection, to see if there's other things that we need to do. Sorry, I'm trying to write and think at the same time. If there's other things that we need to do with that.
Chris Allen, I'm going to go back to, I know we're on the carp, but it was mentioned about drawing down the lake. One of the other concerns that I had as a lake owner and as a person who likes to fish the lake, my husband, I had mentioned this twice in board meetings, but nothing happened of it. But if one of the reasons for drawing down the lake is for those of us who live on the lake to work on their docks, my suggestion in the past has been, could you survey the people that live on the lake to see if anyone needs to work on their dock, and if so, give them a time frame of 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the work is, and so that you're not drawing it down 6 months, you're drawing it down 6 weeks, because in the past it has been drawn down anywhere from 3 to 6 months a year. And for those of us who live on the lake, we're in a mud hole at least a quarter of the year. And I'm not speaking for those who like to fish and they can't use it. So I'm not sure about all the ins and outs of why, but I want to speak directly to those working, if it's possible to do a survey.
Okay.
And say, okay, we're going to drop the lake February 1st to February 20th. And
Okay.
if you have work to do, can you get it done then? So.
Great, thank you. Deb?
So I have a question, because I think most lakes that I've ever heard of before set a period like Don's talking about, where every 5 years you work on your dock. I mean, to draw the lake down every year because every different person wants to work on their dock a different year doesn't make sense. And then as far as Eric's statement, I thought that was the reason they built the new spillway, was so that it flowed out the way it was supposed to. And also, isn't there a pipe that they open anyways, and if there's some catastrophic rain coming, can't they drain it at that point instead of the way they do it now? Because it is a mud hole. And then the other thing is, living on the cove and watching my lake shore up like a foot. It's a foot higher than when I moved here 4 years ago. What's anybody gonna do to stop that from happening? I brought up, since the first year I lived here, and Beecham's told me about it, where it's running into the water, crisscrossing concrete bags to catch the leaves, to catch the garbage, and maintenance goes out there and cleans it up. That wouldn't cost tens of thousands of dollars. It's hundreds of dollars for these bags. But nobody's listened. Talk to Beecham, who has the plan, or looked at doing it.
Okay, that was a lot.
I'll give it to you afterwards.
Okay. No, if you have someone who has had a plan for something,
Bob
please.
Beecham, that lives on the
Yeah.
lake, his wife Nancy was on the committee, and they paid to get some types of surveys done here, and he told me about it when we moved here in 2018, and I have brought it up every year since then, and I don't think anybody's gone to talk to Nancy to get that. But I really want, as long as they're gonna do a dam inspection, to get an expert opinion, what can this spillway handle? Because it's there for a reason, they spent
That's their job.
$200,000 for it for a reason.
Right.
So does it not work right after all that money got spent?
From what I've read, okay, let me just tell you what I know from what I've read in the things that, after becoming commissioner, going into the office and getting things handed to me. By the way, there's no orientation period. They don't bring you in and sit you down and give you donuts and coffee. They go, here, you go. Okay, no one says anything. I didn't know I'm responsible for 8 parks. Did you know we have 8 parks? At least 8 parks. Park maintenance guys are only responsible for mowing the parks. That is a full-time job. One dude. We have one dude. Guys, remember, keep all this in mind, okay? We have one full-time maintenance man. Okay. So, from what I read, prior to the spillway being expanded, we were at 5%. That our spillway is supposed to be 100%, supposed to work 100% for overflow. And we were at 5%. When we had it completed, I assume we had it completed in 2017, 2018, that's the last information that I have any paperwork on. And at that point, the dam survey was that we were at 20% after the renovations were done. So that's one of the reasons that she was my first priority to get her up here to do an assessment. So I don't have answers for any of this until she comes, you know, she does her thing. Over on my lake, in Spring Lake, we have gone through a hole that we filled, and then another hole, another sinkhole birthed itself and could have taken a full-size adult down a hole. We have closed the bridge on our spillway. Our road is closed because our spillway is no longer safe for cars to drive across. So I appreciate that Lake Vagabond is bigger, but we have problems all around that she needs to help me address. Because all of those things, since we made those lakes, then we are now responsible for taking care of those things. And they are the ones who can give me the best guidance for that. Eric?
One of the problems with Lake Vagabond is we have a 2.5 square mile watershed where the water comes in. So before the new spillway was built, our ratio coming in was about 21 to 1 going out. So since the new spillway was built, I believe what I heard from Tom was it's about now 18 to 3 coming in and going out. So if you had a major downpour, opening the valve would not solve the problem. But the spillway there now is designed to handle a 100-year flood. It's not designed to handle a 500-year flood. If you had a 500-year flood and the lake wasn't lowered, everything would just go down. It could not, the spillway could not handle it. But we made, well, that thing was built by the time I moved here, and there was an improvement of the lake. A lot of people that had fixed docks in the coves were being flooded. When that spillway was built, as far as I know, no one's had a dock flooded since that new spillway was built.
Okay. Eric, do you know where I would be able to find this kind of information in the SID office? Is there a special file or a secret cabinet?
The guy you can talk to and he worked with you, I'm sure, is Tom Parsons. Because I've been with him when the states come out and inspect our spillways, when we both commissioners, and they come out and inspect our spillways and our levees every year.
But they haven't been here since 2017.
They have. They have.
Not according to the Arkansas Natural Resources Commission.
I was there.
One thing when you're talking to Tom, when I had talked to Tom a few different times, I also know what he's told me, and I have looked, and I have FOIA'd, and I have dug through every file myself in the office, is whatever was done to the spillway did X amount, but there's also another, well, this was years ago, so now with inflation, it's probably close to $1 million worth of work that needs to be done on it. But what work needs to be done, or what the state has said, I don't know, because other than Tom having seen it, it's not in that office.
Thank you
Because I
very much.
toured the office, the entire office looking for it.
Okay. Thank you for that, because I also looked, and I've contacted them, and they tell me that we have not had an inspection since 2018. About the time that we drew up our emergency action plans for our lakes.
And that's the last one I could find in the office, was 4 years ago, so you're right. So
My
don't dig
name is
anymore.
the first name on here. I'm the primary contact. I didn't know this existed. Okay. These will need to be redone. If any of you would like to help me do that, I will appreciate that. Okay.
Well, when you're talking to her also,
I know.
since the spillway that they built and spent the money on by a lawn gardening company doesn't work, can we also find out is there an alternative to just draining? When there's going to be rain, can we open it up X number of days before and
Absolutely.
after? Is there something, because I also know when Connie Klein was a commissioner, And I know she didn't turn the report in, but I was with her when a lake management company came out here and did an initial survey of it. And what that fellow said was that we are killing the lake because we're draining it so much every year, because we should have vegetation along the shoreline, because that helps stop erosion, like cattails and other natural plants, but we can't get them started out here because we drain it and add to the mud holes that's existing as a lake, and we're killing the health of the lake year by year.
We definitely don't want cattails, just so you guys know, they're so invasive down here. It'd be crazy.
Well, whatever, but there's
Right.
other plants that he said we
Absolutely,
should have
which is-
that would help contain and stop the erosion, but we can't do that because we drain it every year and the shoreline gets further out into the lake.
Okay.
I'm in fact though saying this for Clint, he's off working today. He said stop draining the lake, you're killing the fish. You're not helping them during the spawn by doing that. They spawn in the spring. The man knows fish.
Okay.
And it hurts them. It takes away more of their area to spawn and to continue to create. Drain it every 5 years to do maintenance as needed, but every year it's killing the fish.
Well, fish spawn more than, like, bluegills, they spawn 5 times a year.
That's fine, but their major point in time, are you a biologist?
No, but I've done the research.
Well, okay.
I know they spawn 5
All right,
times.
but unless you have a biologist tell you not to, maybe you should sit down and listen and be quiet. You're not an expert.
No, I didn't claim to be.
Well, you're acting like one.
You're being rude.
Well, welcome to how I've dealt with you for the last 5 years.
Can you find out also, please? I don't even understand what this pipe is they open. I mean, to me, it's a pipe that's just going through the middle of the ground down by the lake. Is there a way to know how fast it's flowing out so we can gauge, you know, well, there's weather forecasts that this week we need to open it up for 3 days. And maybe all of a sudden there's going to be some major rain and we need to leave it open. I mean, is there a way for somebody to learn how to manage how we drain it so we don't take a chance of it overflowing the spillway versus just draining it to drain it because that's what somebody's decided always needs to be done, and to the rest of us that live on the lake, it makes 0 sense, and it's killing our shorelines and in turn our property values.
Okay. Lauren?
3 questions or possibly suggestions, maybe 4. Cherokee has 7 lakes, and they have a rotation plan of some sort on draining.
Lauren, we can't hear you in the back. Can you maybe face us a little bit? Thank you.
Yeah, I hope I don't lose my
That's
train of thought. Okay, Cherokee has 7 lakes, right? And they drain on rotation and for different reasons. We talk about the influx of water. Maybe we could look at one of their plans for a lake that's more comparative, because they do have some huge lakes, but then they've got some smaller ones. That may save some guesswork, because they do have records where maybe we don't have the kind of records necessarily. Some other thoughts. The radio station that I work with, we call the National Weather Service every day. I talk to them every day. I interview them once a week. So if we knew, for example, this tropical storm or hurricane or whatever that's come in, I had actually asked them if that was going to affect us. So if we knew of a big system coming in, and I can give you the phone number, anybody can call them. We just happen to be the official reporting station for the area. So you could actually call and talk to one of those guys about what the patterns are going to do, because they only announce like a 3 to 5 day projection. They can project a lot farther out. I know because I talk to them about it all the time. Some other things that come to mind, and I don't know if it'd be helpful or not, but we all know that we have freak rainstorms here sometimes. Like last year, anybody remember when the camper park got wiped out on the river? So I get up at 3 in the morning, I'm checking the stream gauges, and I check the stream gauges. You can do it from your phone, I can supply you the phone number, you just text it, and you text a code and it tells you what the water levels are doing. So last year when that flood happened, Spring River, for example, is the one that impacts us the most, and our downhill water goes into there the most. But we went from 3 feet to 11 feet in 4 hours. And I should have called the mayor when we hit 8 feet, but I didn't. By the time I got off work, the camper park was wiped out. We'd hit 14 feet, and there just simply wasn't enough time. I'm on that fire department party, so, you know, it's kind of our job to be like, hey folks, you're about to lose everything. So those are just some thoughts and options of ways to track and monitor that I don't, and the Cherokee game plan of finding a lake that's kind of comparative for how they raise and lower and what their management plan is might be beneficial, so that I know and I think it's wonderful, all of the research and all the things that you've got yourself set up to do, the education and bringing these experts out here. The initiative on that alone is great.
Thank you.
And I don't know if past commissioners have done it, and if they have, kudos to them, but if not, certainly kudos to you because you're stepping into something new.
Thank you.
Yeah, I applaud this. I think we want to. But those would be some recommendations, some ways to monitor, prevention methods, and I am not an expert on grass or fish or anything like that, but I do know that we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And these may be some more expedited solutions than just using tools that are already available to us. They don't really cost us anything except time to look into. So that's.
Thank you.
And do you know the person who's in charge of the lakes over in Cherokee?
Well, now it would be Betsy Wall, because she is the SID manager. And they would have like a subcommittee, or they'd have a commissioner over it. But what they do have is decades of records. Can y'all still hear me? They have decades of records, and they have tracked the patterns. And so does the National Weather Service. I mean, we even keep records at the radio station. I can go back 40 years and tell you what years and almost pinpoint now the patterns, which we do. When we have massive floods, we report on the last flood was whatever day, month, and how much rainfall. So it's handy, you know.
Did I forget to you?
No, no,
Tom?
no, you need to, we don't do.
You mentioned the possibility of a grant,
Yes.
and did you mention fish and game at all?
I did.
Okay. I should know this, but I can't think of what's right. This is not a private lake, right?
This lake, from what I understand, was gifted to the SID and is owned by the SID, so it is kind of a private
So
lake,
it is
yes.
gifted.
But all of those lakes need to be managed still through our state and county agencies.
That's the way it looks to me.
And so that's why those were the first people I reached out to, because I assumed that if I couldn't find it in my office, they would have it in their office, which didn't turn out to be the case, but they're going to come out, we're going to get it into both of our offices now. So I've got Natural Resource Commission, which used to be called Soil and Water Conservation. Okay, they changed their name to Natural Resource Commission. And then I also have the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission coming out, and I have our county extension office coming out. Okay, so those are the 3 government state agencies that I have reached out to so far. If you guys know of others, please let me know. Yes, sir.
Well, it wasn't pertaining to that, but
That's okay.
I'm Paul. I'm curious as to if there is a major problem with the dam, are there funds set aside? Who's going to pay for the major problem with the dam? You say there's 3 state agencies that manage this.
Right? Well, they don't manage it. They don't manage our lake. They give us the guidance on how we have to manage our lake. These are the regulations. These are the guidelines that these lakes and streams and rivers should be followed. Okay.
Best practices.
Yeah, safe practices. Like they have the voting regulations, but they're not the ones who come out and give a voting ticket. Okay, they're the ones who decide what those regulations are, and then it's our responsibility to follow them. So that's what they would need to do, is give us guidance. Is there funding available to fix our spillway?
That's my question.
Let me ask you, do you have any potholes on your road? Do you have any, like,
No.
yeah, no, we don't have that kind of funding in any way, shape, or form, okay? And I don't know about the money part of it. I'm not even there yet. I'm really just trying to find out what are we gonna try to do? What do we want to do? What do you want? You know, do you want me to try to find someone who comes out and takes care of the weeds in the lake? Or does nobody care about that? Do you want me to, I'm just asking for input as to what I can help us do to go forward as a community to make this a better place. And I think the natural resources within Ozark Acres are a key to this community being sustainable, okay? They are a potential source of income for our community. They are a potential source of advertising for our community. But not in the current state that they are in. They're not helping us any. They are costing us money instead of bringing it in. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find the best way forward for us to take advantage of the things that we have, that we're not taking care of right now. Yes, Deb?
Okay, so I either wasn't paying attention, if not, I apologize, or I came in a little late. Who does the dam inspections?
The Arkansas Natural Resources Commission from Little Rock.
And you've contacted them,
I have.
and they have verified with you that the dam hasn't been inspected since 2018.
Yes.
I just want to be clear, because then every year at a meeting, when the commissioners were saying our inspection passed, was misinformation to the entire community. I just want to make it clear.
Well, I think you're being wrong, I think.
No, I'm not being wrong, Eric. Don't interrupt me. I wasn't asking you. I was asking someone who contacted the department, and I know what I sat here and heard at every meeting over the past years I've lived here, that we had to either pay or have volunteers come out here and clear that dam for an inspection. And I've asked every year, how did the inspection go? And it's fine and it passed. Well, that's not a reality.
Well, it could be a reality.
Okay, where's the paperwork?
Well, they will find something.
Good. Find all of Tom's paperwork and give it to the office.
That would be extremely helpful. Okay.
Say something. The small dam, it's already failed. You know what I'm saying? This one here, it's dropping down. Y'all's arguing about dropping the lake and things. What happens when this dam is washed down? Do you see what we had? Nothing. Because of our grade is what we want. We didn't see what's the best with the 4 engineers that are there to fix it.
That's,
Just that simple.
Right.
that's what she's bringing somebody in for.
2 dams?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and both of them spell it. Both of them spell it. One of them's got the hood over here, the big one has. It's spelling too, it leaks too.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time till it goes.
You have stuff in
Well, we
Just
are
for-
also in a drought.
I don't live on it, but it's a matter of time till it goes. We've done had to lower boats down, change everything.
So they will, the inspector will look at both dams, huh?
Yes. Yes, that's their responsibility. Just so you know, on the little lake that I live on, I have a pole out in the lake that I placed in the lake at one of the driest periods of time, and I had probably, what, 2 feet, 3 feet in front of the pole? And so we put a pole up, and we have it marked, and sometimes it's not even close to the edge of the water, and sometimes the water is up, when it's going over our spillway, the water is up 7 feet on that pole. And that pole is 30 feet from the edge of where my lake now starts. My property expands and contracts more than any property I've ever seen. Now, we figured out that last year the reason that our lake dropped super far was because we had a hole this big around that the water was running out of. okay? We repaired that by dumping 20 tons of gravel into it and building a peninsula on top of that. Do I hope that that 20 tons of gravel doesn't wash out again? I do. Do I think that that's the correct way to fix it? Not really, but it's what we had available, and it did what it needed to do at the moment. But those are the things that an actual inspector with a, you know, I mean, she's like in charge of all the dams in the state of Arkansas, and she will be coming and spending the day with me on Tuesday. If anyone has questions or things that they would like to get to me before then, by all means, please do. Okay, yes, Deb?
Does Spring Lake get drained?
No, Spring Lake has a recycling pump, according to the paperwork that I've seen, but no one, I don't know what a recycling pump is. I don't know where it is. Dylan didn't know where it is. I asked Dylan to take me on a tour. I drove around with Dylan, looking at all of our parks and things. Yes, sir?
It has a drain, and that's where it was leaking. It had a spill on it. That's where it's leaking. There's a pipe there.
Do you know where?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's where it was leaking. It's not like,
Okay.
it had a drain pipe just as this one over here.
All right. No, I can't seem to find that. The dam inspector will probably be able to clear that up with me, and if she, I'm not saying that she's gonna come out here with surveying equipment and like, no, you know, have answers for me Tuesday afternoon. I'm saying they will come out. The last time her inspection paperwork, she had 2 discs of photos that she had taken. So she will come out and she will do that, and if that's not enough, she will send someone else. That's what they do. That's what the Department of Natural Resources does. And I'm just gonna say this off the top of my head. In the paperwork last time, it said, if you guys don't fix your dam, we will. We will come in and we will do this, because we can't have a failure of that size. Now, it also says, and then you'll pay us for it. Okay, that's where we are. That's where.
2 things. What is the red brick building that's down there at Spring Lake?
That is water department. Huh,
Okay.
who knew? I didn't know that. I thought it was ours, and I thought it was like, yeah, no, it's water department.
Okay. And the next,
It's cute.
yeah, the next thing is insurance available for these
I'm
things?
not sure. I haven't even considered that yet. I haven't even looked at anything financial.
I'm insured for almost everything, and I know where to get solid policies affordably. So, because I'm involved in so much, I make a point to have that very minimum liability for everything. So, I can hook you up in that direction if
All
that'd
right,
be helpful.
awesome. Lauren, the insurance salesman.
I know
I think she should just literally, I think that Lauren should wear like a long trench coat, you know, like the guy that sells watches. Because she can just walk up to people and go, what do you need? I got it. I got firewood. I got clothing.
I got insurance policies.
What, I got insurance policy. What the heck? Okay.
You need a run? You need a run?
Want some quail eggs?
I'll take you to
I got
church.
quail eggs.
Yes, Eric.
Do you have a copy of that 2018 report?
Not with me, no.
I think it might be a good idea if you could read that, because my understanding that was a very positive report in 2018.
I've read it. It talks about how this is still a high hazard dam,
Right.
and it's got nothing positive. It's showing pictures of where there's still problems, and then it's got about 5 pages attached about all the problems that exist. I have it at home. I could have brought it.
I actually have it. I was trying to be nice.
No, you ain't. No, you ain't. You ain't trying to be nice. You ain't trying to be nice at all. Because this place wouldn't be nothing like it is if it wasn't. He is injured.
I didn't say anything about Tom. I have not mentioned Tom's name not once. No, it's not his report. This is the report from the Arkansas Natural Resources from 2018. And we are still considered a intermediate level. We are not a low level. We are not a satisfactory level. We are an intermediate level. even after the spillway was corrected, okay? It started out as a hazard. In 2008, it was a hazard classification of the dam was high. We are now down to an intermediate. And that's not anything to do with Tom. I have a 2008 inspection, I have a 2009 inspection, and then I have a 2018 inspection from after the dam was, after the spillway was expanded. The spillway is not fixed properly, I can guarantee that. I don't know how it was not fixed properly, I don't know what else we need to do. That's not my expertise. It's not my responsibility to tell you those things. It is a certified person's responsibility to tell you those things. That's why I have them coming out. Okay? I'm not gonna talk any more about what else I can do about the dam, because it's way beyond my expertise. That's why I've called in experts. Okay? If anybody has questions or problems or concerns with that, please let me know that on a individual basis. Okay? And I'll do my best to answer your questions.
Could you tell us where you got the information that the spillway is not fixed correct?
I just said where I got it. I got that information from the fact that, in my opinion, if our spillway had been fixed properly, 100% properly, we should not be an intermediate threat.
Well, the thing
We
is,
should be a low threat. We should, or a no threat. Okay, that's how it really should be. In my opinion, and it's my opinion, if our spillway had been fixed correctly, we would be at 100% safety, and what we are at is 20% safety.
Maybe it's a dam, maybe it's not the spillway.
no, can I make a statement?
Again, I don't know what it is. That's why I've had people come out to inspect it and tell me what it is.
I know something about that. What the deal is a money issue. Like, we were trying to work to improve the ratings, and for the state to be 100% satisfied, they want me 300 foot spillway. So it's money. And
So you're standing there right now telling me that you were aware that in order to be at 100%, we needed a 300-foot spillway, and instead
that's the plan I understand that the state is giving.
and instead what we did was this,
But
but you're,
they give you a period of time to get it done. As long as you're making progress, the state is going along with you.
have we made any progress in the last couple of years, Eric? Have we done something that I'm not aware of, because I can't find
How
any?
long is the
Well,
sales?
the last
Started
time I
in
put the state south,
2018.
like,
No, how
we found,
Oh.
on top of the dam, they were bridges where people were driving across it. And I never met a lady, the people I met inspecting the lake, so I met some, was a gentleman out of Little Rock. And he felt that we should keep traffic off the levees. So what we did, Tom surveyed, he's a surveyor also, and we bought gravel. And when we worked on top of the levee, it was still just like the water from the rains would run back into the lake, not on the other side of the lake. But the impression I got talking to this gentleman that day was out here was that as long as we continue to make some progress, the state's not, with the state, I think can legally come here, you don't do anything, they can legally just drain your lake if they want to.
Yes, they can.
And the thing is, like, my understanding is that the water over Spring Lake where you live is in those sinkholes, and there's one on the side, the dam is not leaking. The water is going out to that side of the lake, a big sinkhole, and it's running around the end of the dam.
Which lake? Spring Lake, the little lake.
But my understanding is that dam does not leak because when it's inspected, as far as I know, from this gentleman, he was satisfied that our dams were in, good or satisfactory condition. I can't tell you exactly, but he did not see any major issues with our dams.
Do you happen to remember his name by any chance?
No, I mean, but,
Stephen Smedley.
what's his name?
Stephen Smedley. Yeah, she's taken.
Was that one inspected in 2018 then too, was Springlet?
I don't have any inspection reports that I can find anywhere in the office or in any
That one.
email chase for Springwood.
Another person you might want to talk to that I met after I moved here that lives here is Glenn Thron. Because he apparently was the first person involved in working on this spillway and took classes in Little Rock and dealt with the state and was getting real bids through newspapers and had different plans on how that was supposed to be taken care of. But then through the powers that be, he got ex-nayed out and chose to leave the board as a commissioner, but he has a trove of information on many, many things, because he spent months of his life trying to get it done the correct way.
I'm willing to take advantage of anybody else's trove of information. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, okay? Lauren,
Do you have a board, or are you one on the show? Because I know the way that the commission
I have a board.
is split up is a little.
no, I don't have a board. I got a lot of stuff on my plate. I've got parks, beach. We haven't even gone there yet. We haven't talked about beach. We haven't talked about parks. We're talking about 2 lakes.
That's where I was kind of headed with it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that prevents you from forming a committee or subcommittee to help you?
No, nothing.
You
There's
got a
nothing.
sign-up sheet
I
somewhere?
do.
Okay.
I do definitely have a sign-up sheet. So, anything else from you guys? Do you guys have any feelings about parks? Do you have any feelings about, I know our lakes are a big deal, but man, there's a lot more that I'm responsible for too, okay? And I would be happy to hear any input on parks or on anything but roads. Because I got nothing to do with roads. We all know how our roads are. I don't want to hear it. Yes, hear it.
I think that our parks should be taken care of. I think they're underutilized because they're not taken care of like a lot of, it takes.
I don't have a vehicle to get anywhere, so I need something that I don't have to run
A week or
and
two
take care
ago.
of.
But and then we had a lady that was about the clubhouse. She went out and she stained all the benches and they were nice. But then you gotta walk through grass 12 inches high and weeds around the table, so people don't take their families out. I mean, these parks are here for everybody in Ozark Acres to use.
They are.
And if they were maintained better, I think they would be used.
Okay. I will tell you that when I first started this, I drove around and I was amazed. I thought I had seen all the parks. I hadn't seen all the parks. When I did see all the parks, I was kind of freaked. I think our parks are very, very difficult to get to. I think they are not inconvenient places. And I think they're spread out over 1,429 acres, which make up Ozark acres, okay? Very simply, if I sent Dylan once a week to go and do maintenance at a park, that's all he's going to get done. He's not going to get anything else done. He's not going to get any road work done. He's not going to get any maintenance on the machinery done. He's not going to get anything fixed that he's supposed to fix, okay? What I would like to know is, if anyone lives near a park, do you see activity there? If you see activity there, great. If you live near a park, and I was able to say, hey, we'll pay you for your gas, could you please mow that for me twice, every 2 weeks? Lauren, yes.
I'm sorry.
Open it, treasure, give me something.
That's where I'm headed with it.
Okay.
All right, Cherokee Village has adopted spots. Businesses are allowed to put up signs and they're responsible for the area all year long. So what is to prevent us
Nothing.
to go out and recruit? Well, like Lamar, he's out here all the freaking time. Maybe he could adopt one of the smaller parks as long as nobody gives him crap from the park. I also, you said we have 8, I counted 5, what did I miss?
Okay, in addition to the 8 that are labeled as parks, Sid also has numerous, I don't even have any idea how many, I would have to really spend some time, or if one of you guys would like to do this, that would be great. Water Okay, that's terrible.
Like we didn't.
Words, what is it? Watersheds. Like on my property, my house is here, and then the SID owns a piece of property here, and I own property on the other side. I own the other lot on the other side. But I can't do anything to that 30 or 40 foot wide piece of property because it's owned by the SID as a natural spillway into Spring Lake. There are many of those around the acres that technically we are responsible for maintaining them, for them to work properly to drain our community. Okay, so those are all things that we are also responsible for maintaining that we have not done. Unfortunately, they run under roads, which sometimes causes problems with the roads, which also causes problems with the ditches, which, there we go.
It's not your wheelhouse.
Okay, I know. Well, it is if it's my culvert, if it's the watershed's culvert that's failing under the road, that's making the road cave in. It is in my wheelhouse then, so I'm just saying it's way more than I ever expected, yeah.
Yeah, well, also on that same point, part of the road problems is because if we dig the culverts next to the roads too close to the roads, we're lining the roads. Whoever went around and cleaned them out last time, that main drag going out is a perfect example, where it's just washing out underneath the road.
Thanks for that charity note. News. Yes,
We are Jim and Denise Golden. We just moved into the acres a couple months ago.
we're scaring the heck out of them.
No, is there a
Welcome to
map
our crazy.
of the acres that I could see where those parks are?
That's what I'm.
There is,
Real close to the lake over there, there's one up there in the trailer park,
So they kind of surround the
and the
lake.
basketball court by the fire station.
even on like Spring Lake, like on the Little Lake, they technically call a couple of those things parks, even though, like, I always thought that across the lake for me was a boat launch. When Dylan was driving me around the other day, he said, that's not, I said, well, what about my boat launch? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, the one I can see. He goes, that's not a boat launch.
That's a park.
I go, excuse me? He goes, yeah, that's not a boat launch. The only place you're supposed to be able to put in a boat on Spring Lake is at the other end of the lake. And I said, well, wait a minute, when our lake goes down, you're 50 feet, you're 50 yards from the edge of the water before you can put a boat in there. I said, so that's not a boat launch? He says, no, that's a park. Okay, add it to the list.
Are you talking over where the second well is?
I'm talking about right across from the
On Spring
On
Lake,
Spring
right,
Lake.
right spillway.
on the spillway, right
Oh,
there.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's,
Because on the other end of the lake, there's a park too.
yes, I know. I thought they were both parks that were also boat launches, but I was informed that that one is not a boat launch, and that's good because nobody could launch a boat there. So there's a lot of little like pocket parks that the city owns and is responsible for maintaining. Okay? So those are all out there too. And there is a map, but it's very, very difficult to navigate. I would be happy to, and it's huge.
The nicest ones in there.
So let me know, you can come into the SID office, I'll hook you up with a big, huge map and a table.
Have you looked into alternative ways of keeping grasses down and like reaching out to any like area goat farmers? Because a lot of people rent their goats out for weed control.
That would be cute.
Oh, I would, but like, see, it's some, like, there's some people that they buy.
Cities do that.
A lot.
I personally would prefer miniature donkeys.
I mean, what, I don't care.
Just because I like, yeah.
But that is a really big thing. A lot of farmers, especially that have, and I know there's a couple around here because they always hit up like the craft fairs with their soaps and everything. But they look for people that need their area, like their yards mowed down. Like they come out, they put their own temporary fencing up, they drop them off, they unload them, they load them back up. It's
Katie, find me some goats,
That's
girl.
fabulous.
That would be so much fun, actually.
That's what I was recommending.
Yeah, if you
You
have
gotta go.
I have good
I thought you were clean.
But legit, that's another, I
No,
mean,
legit, yes. No, this is exactly what I love different ideas, I love new ideas, I could use all the help I can get.
Really anything.
Right. Just no rabbits. No rabbits.
And yes, they're gonna poop while they're there, but that's no.
but
That's good.
it's fertilizer.
That's a great idea.
Okay. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and just lay this out there. You know, we had the duck problem on the big lake?
Yeah.
Great. And, okay, I'm gonna try not to laugh, because honestly, I live on the little lake, and I am the proud owner of a flock of ducks and 2 ganders, okay, that go on the little lake. Now, the reason that it works on my little lake is there are no motors.
You know what?
There are no motors, there are no boats that they can get hurt by. They come home every night and sleep in their blind that is located on my property. They do like to go and visit people when they come out onto the lake. But they have changed the actual flora and fauna of our lake totally, okay, by having them there.
How so? I don't know anything about that.
We have more catfish and more fish on their shoreline where our ducks,
Great.
yep,
That's a good thing.
they like it. We don't have any milfoil or any of the weeds that Lake Vagabond has because, again, we don't have motors. That was brought into our lake. One of them, for sure, is an invasive species, and it was brought into our lake. Yes, sir.
That motor thing don't matter not one bit, hon. We had a female settlement on this lake, lived here for 30 years. And it was a wild duck. And they bred and they kept having babies for 30 years. Now this guy overdid it. He brought some domesticated ducks in and hooked over everything.
Well, yeah, they came where the people are, which is on the beach in the
I'm telling you,
pavilion.
wild
And
ducks, it doesn't matter whether there's motors or whatever.
I wasn't, oh yeah, no, I wasn't talking about wild ducks. I was talking about the fact that I have
I'm
domestic
just
ducks.
saying, they lived here for 30 years and didn't bother anybody.
Right.
Until you closed.
Yeah.
And that was awesome.
Well, see, the wild ducks aren't going to come up to the beach in the pavilion and hang out and vet for these crabs.
So how was the duck problem addressed?
Somebody came out and
They
got them.
got rid of them.
Take them up.
They dumped like 30 there and I guess they put the water.
It was a mess.
I want to make a comment on the algae. I live where I can see the marina, and to me, this year actually wasn't as bad as last year, so I don't know if everybody else sees the same thing. The algae was much worse in the marina last year, so I don't know if the carp are helping, or is the climate is different this year.
We were in a drought this year.
Yeah,
But anyway, that's just my observations. Anecdotally, it's a lot better this year.
Okay.
Whatever that's worth.
Algae is completely different than submerged plants. Algae is usually caused by runoff from storms, fertilizers, and hot weather. I'm sure that you've noticed that when we get a stretch where we've had no rain, you get those great like green pillows out there floating around. Algae is way more environmental than not environmental, weather related and climate related than
Hot and
weeds.
black and rain makes more algae than cold and lots of rain.
Yes. Thank you.
So,
That was-
Chris Allen, are you saying then that the plants that we see
Mhm.
are different than what's on the top? We call it pond
Well-
stone. So you're saying there's more than one issue?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, way north.
Okay.
In the coves, what you're seeing as a floating top is possibly both, a mixture of the submerged
Okay.
plants and the algae that's gotten caught in the submerged plants. But our biggest issue in Lake Vagabond, from what I've seen and from what I've collected, is the submerged plants, not grass. Okay, we don't have a grass problem. Our grass is good in our lake. It is the submerged plants. They are very thin and fine, and the milfoil is really pretty. It looks kind of like feathers, like real feathery green. The problem with that is it is the type of plant that when you break it up, it can float over there and make a whole new plant for you. And if you break it up into 100 pieces, it can make 100 new plants for you. And boat motors, bad, okay? It breaks it up more than anything else, okay? It can be controlled, but we are going to have to do some things to be able to do that. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring that up is because it is an invasive and it is very easy to transport it in and out. So if you do live on the lake and you're taking your boats in and out of here, I sincerely hope that you are doing a majorly good job of rinsing them off and cleaning the motors, etc., before you take them out of here. Okay? That came from somewhere. It didn't grow here in our lake just because it's a natural plant that grows around here. It's not. It came in on somebody's boat, and it will go out on somebody's boat. So, is there any way?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I moved down from New Hampshire, and every boat launch had a sign stating you will inspect the boats, and if not, I believe it was a $5,000 fine.
It's a huge fine.
Minnesota was the
For
same way.
transporting.
Arkansas is the same way. Just so you know, Arkansas is the same way. Just hasn't been.
We're just not as vocal.
That's one of the things we want to look into is how can we have water available at the boat launch so that you can
So we
get
can
your
hose
motors
it
off. Because if you're taking it from here and taking it back to Memphis where you guys live, you're taking that plant with you wherever you go.
And it can dry out. You know, it can be dried, and you put it back into another lake, and it's no longer dried. It's like the resurrection plant. It's not a fun one to deal with, but it is manageable once you get your wrap around it. Yes, Lori?
Maybe not for boats yet, but back to parks, I had an idea. There's a bunch of people in the unapproved. If the acres could give some leeway. I'm a big fan of barter. And I had a thought, I know several folks out there, that if we provided the weed eaters and the gas and stuff, and let them fill up their water jugs and use the restroom facilities or whatever, they would do the work. Because they want to work for what they have, but they don't have running water out there and things of that nature. That may also be another solution. You know, we'll work for water.
It's sad that we have to do that.
It is, but they would be they're doing this stuff anyway. But this way, they don't have to go to Hardy or hit up a friend. You know,
It's sad to think that you have to barter water for.
Right?
Well, no, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to hold the water hostage.
No,
I just know.
that's not what I meant.
People threw a fit when they try to fill up the fire station, or they try to, like, they have to go to private houses to fill up their jugs.
Yeah.
This might be a good solution. I mean, shoot, some of them, I mean, in trade for access to the things that we have out here, since they don't pay the same taxes that we do. I mean, maybe we could get a couple of them willing to be the boat police on rotation or something. I don't know.
First, we have to get the motor on the boat running.
It's just a matter of time before they overrun the spring. I
that's what they're doing.
been out in a while. I
They're
come back the
filling
other day, it's like Kansas City when
Yeah,
I leave my house.
I know.
It is unreal.
This might be a multi-beneficial solution. Oh, girl. We'll take a drive later.
Oh, God, okay. I don't know if I want to. All right, really quick. If you happen to live on a cove, I would appreciate it if you could give me your contact information for sure, right on your little sign in here that you live in a cove. One of the things about milfoil, that plant that we were just talking about, is it requires stagnant water. Now, if we don't have stagnant water, it's not going to reproduce like it does. Stagnant water is can be fixed as simply as dropping a sump pump into the different coves and literally just moving that water within that cove, okay? The best thing that I can say right now is that we're going into the winter and everything will die back. And hopefully we will have an arsenal of things going into the spring before it gets a foothold and starts growing like crazy. So something as simple as running a pump for a couple hours a day. And if cove owners or cove people that live on the coves are willing to try that, I would love to talk to you about that, because it would be a simple thing to do to make a big difference.
Going back to the beach, I have 4 kids that'd be willing to help pick up weeds if that, I heard that proposed idea of turning the weeds back into
Right.
So if that comes up, you know, I think we could do it this fall, maybe.
Okay, so yes, let's switch gears and talk to me about the beach. First of all, why do we lock the beach during the summer? Why?
Because there's nobody to babysit it.
Does it need to be babysat?
Some folks feel that way.
It needs, I'm seeing yeses and nos. I'm
I don't
getting
think it's
no.
been locked the majority of the summer. I think they started leaving it unlocked like at least a couple of months ago.
Right. Again, communication is poor. I didn't know, I'm commissioner of the beach, I didn't know that our beach guard was no longer working for us. I didn't know that. Wasn't it? What, we did. We voted on hiring, we hired a beach guard this summer. We hired a beach guard. The guy signed his
It's
paycheck.
partially to do with, we can't afford one.
Okay.
I mean, and I live right next to the beach. Year by year, there are less and less people using that beach. The only time it's been busy this year is maybe the 4th of July and one other holiday.
Was it Easter?
And unless somebody's got the pavilion rented, there is at most on the weekends, maybe 5 or 6 cars there. And there's been times for the entire week, no one uses that beach.
Yeah.
I'm going to say why I think that is. And please don't take it personally. The people that are here today don't have children or families that would be using facilities. That all the parks. None of you guys have little kids, maybe grandparents, maybe grandkids that come to visit you every once in a while. But the people that would be using those facilities on a regular basis aren't involved in our community.
I am.
Katie is.
We have kids. We have
But
little kids.
do you know where I mean, that's a generalized statement,
I know.
but I think it's a pretty accurate statement, okay? We have an overpopulation here, and we need to figure out how to offer amenities for different levels, different generations, okay?
My generation just isn't involved in it because it's been, to be honest, and I'm sorry, it's been a shit show for the last 5 years that I haven't wanted to get involved with it. But the only way to make a future for my child that will be living here 40 years after I'm here, I have to do something.
Correct.
And because the census shows from 35 to 55 is 227 people. From 56 to 85 is 163.
And there's quite a few kids.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids.
There
Especially her, there's like,
Really?
there's 80 that are 5 and under.
Okay, let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah.
The airstrip, that is not an airstrip because we built a building right in the middle of it. Makes it hard to land a plane.
Yep.
It also turns into a pond when it rains.
And it turns into a pond when it rains. Okay, I would hate to ever lose that chunk of the property. I would hate it. Okay, because I think that that is a central.
Okay.
And for me, it's way more centralized than any of the parks over here. It's already a somewhat level, incredibly somewhat level. It's got some buildings on it
What's that do?
that maybe we could use for a homeschool location. If there are moms in Ozark Acres that are homeschooling their kids, and that's hard to do, man. That's so hard to do by yourself. Maybe we could use that building for those kind of activities. Maybe we could put a walking path around that and do interval training spots, or maybe we could set up a frisbee golf or something, okay, that would be, I mean, I like our parks and everything, but they're all got grass up to here, and they've all got huge trees, and they're not
Where you're talking about was a putt up there by the basketball court.
was a what?
It was a putt thing right
Mini
there.
golf.
To where you golf there on that.
Lena.
Well, why did that go away?
I don't know.
Well, I can answer
Okay,
this.
well, that's,
So they had built for like a family day, they had actually built a makeshift and move it putt golf for that festival.
Yeah.
But it was only for that one day. Now, there's no reason that,
What's up? I used to.
yeah, I mean, I think they left it for like a week or something, but it
It was
wasn't.
at the Harvest
it-
Festival like
Yeah, that's what
years
it was,
ago.
Harvest
Yeah.
Fest a few years ago. But it wasn't a permanent thing.
But that, I mean, that's also an
Yeah, but
idea
it's
for in the
an idea.
future, because Cherokee has
It is a
one.
good idea,
Cherokee runs a miniature golf,
sort of.
well, sort of, but I mean,
They're trying to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Where is the helicopter? Isn't that where
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's
the
how-
emergency back thing is up there?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
We
Is
don't
there a
have
certain
tower
spot
on
that it uses that you have to avoid them?
they
Yeah,
usually
concrete pad.
land right to the right of
That's
the,
right, sir.
if you go pretty much from the white building is where they land.
Eric, didn't
In the
some
grass.
business-
Maybe that's something the women's club could work with the city on, because we have money in our account.
Yeah.
And I keep on saying, the only thing I would like it spent on, if I was in charge of it, is to do, get the women's club help buy the supplies and have people volunteer to build like a nice fort or some kind of a really nice play area for the kids.
And I just happen to be married to a carpenter, so, maybe.
And then maybe if we did something like that with the women's club, the events we're doing to try to raise money,
We
more
could bring
people
them
would
in.
start coming to them, so
Yeah.
we can raise more money for more equipment. I even saw, and I've got it saved on my phone, how a lot of low-income communities make the coolest forts and playground things out of old tires. It's
Wow, we got some of those
crazy the
laying
stuff
around.
they can build.
we'll just dig them up out of the ditches from.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we could probably hit up about every lot.
But I
and
mean,
get some.
it's incredible, some of the things they build out of, like climbing things, just out of old tires. I mean, it's a little bit of money and people wanting to donate their time to help get this done.
Okay,
Personnel.
at the same time, we have a couple of places, we have a couple of parks that have got some nice little amenities in them. We've got a park up by the trailer park that has some really nice picnic tables that have been sealed, and we had basketball. We had, if you hear that, that was a past tense. We had a basketball hoop out there when I first became a commissioner, and then when I was out driving around with Dylan this week, we don't have a basketball hoop there anymore. It's been-
That doesn't surprise me, because I don't know who's,
We don't.
and I hate to say it, I don't know whose little snot-nosed children it is, but it is someone, because I've had to yell at 3 of them now to get off of the pop machine, the soda machine. They'll climb up top and just sit there and
I
chill.
had that the other day when I drove by the
Yeah.
firehouse too.
The whole
Yes.
hoop is down or just the net part?
No, the
No.
whole backboard, the pole is broken.
Oh,
At the tennis court?
At the park by the trailer park. I'm not sure what the name of it is. I can't remember. We've got Sunset and Leisure and, yeah, all kinds of them.
But yeah, I've been
And
seeing.
those 2 picnic tables that were just sealed and placed out there very nicely are upside down, one and one was sideways. And so it's hard when you try to provide nice things and people mess them up.
can you put cameras out there?
Makes you want to not provide them with nice things. Yes, a lot. I've just gotten some cameras at my own house, and they've got some great little programs like solar powered, like.
I mean, you go to Walmart, get a trail cam, super cheap, it
Yeah,
sends it
it-
right to the phone.
I can't even tell on my trail cam if it was a possum or if it was a raccoon, so
Like,
I
I
don't
have-
know
I
if
have-
I will identify the kids that are
Right,
messing
like
with
I
it.
have Blink and it's pretty good.
Okay. So,
Takes
those are
life.
some other.
So you can wire them.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the beach really quick. So what I'm planning on doing, I guess, is, before, or at our next city commissioner meeting, is that I will be closing the beach for the season. I would like to probably see if I could get it disked once before the winter, where they come out and drag the beach and tear up all the plants that are encroaching on our beach. We did do that right before 4th of July, from what I understand. The problem is we did not then pick up those plants, and that's, all we did was we replanted them
Somewhere
in other
else.
places in our beach. So, for those of you who, I have not been around the beach here. I don't live in that side of the world of Ozark Acres. So my question is it better to do maintenance in the fall for the beach, or is it better to start out in the spring? Is there anyone that has any kind of familiarity with that?
I don't see any maintenance of the change.
Well, that's what we're trying to fix.
Right.
I mean, it's all the same every year, other than.
Oh, it's not at all. I look back at some pictures just from the last, even from the last 3 or 4 years, and our beach has gotten significantly smaller because we have not maintained the edges of the plants. And so they continue to grow underneath the sand, and it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so the pictures that are up in the CID office of what the beach used to look like 5 years ago and what the beach looks like now are completely different. And so I'm freaked out about that.
And I know when Connie was the commissioner, she had price, because she was trying to fix part of it, and we can't afford sand to bring in there, because sand is very
Oh
expensive.
no, the
so-
sand is still there. The sand is underneath all the plants that we need to push back. We just need to recover the sand from underneath the plants that are overgrown.
I know where to find sand.
Yeah.
Who are you stealing all this stuff from,
You are
girl?
No, she is the procurer of procurers.
Lauren.
Like, if Lauren
We need
can't
money
find
to
it,
take
no one
for
can find it.
Okay, Deb said something about women's club. If you guys have not gone to women's club, the next women's club meeting is October 3rd.
I didn't even know we had it.
Correct.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, they
Wednesday.
started last
They
year.
changed it to Wednesday because you've got things going on Monday.
Oh shoot, okay, so when is it?
Wednesday at 10 in the clubhouse.
Wednesday at 10, right here.
Oh,
Women's-
somebody's got to fix that on Facebook.
I'll fix it on Facebook.
Women's club meeting.
Yeah.
Wednesday the 5th, there you go,
5th,
Wednesday,
okay.
October 5th.
At 10 a.m.
10 a.m. women's club meeting here. Come here, have fun. All right, anyone else have anything else for me? Okay, hang in with me. I will do my best. And I will get back with you. I'm happy that these people are coming out and the program is starting before our next CID meeting. I think that's going to be a good update for you all. Thank you very, very much for coming.
Did you guys decide on the
Roma?